little bitch ass he is. That's why Campy wears a beanie. Not because his head's cold or oddly shaped, which it is, but mostly because he just tries to muffle the sound of my clap. Good content.
See you next time. That's the entire episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Oz F1 Show. In this video, we're going to review episode 5 of season 3 of Netflix's Drive to Survive. Fart noises as he downshifts. Well, here's another episode as we binge watch this series. We're doing very well, which is great. We've had some pizza, we've had some coffee, we've had some beer.
Yes.
And now we've finally seen a bit of Danny Rick properly on camera.
Finally.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because in the last season especially, Danny Rick had a lot more hero time.
Yes.
And even in season 1, 2 with his Red Bull leaving, than we've seen so far. Now, Netflix still has the opportunity to claw back some Danny Rick hero time.
But right now, low on the Daniel Rick meter.
We
need more.
Need more. But interestingly, this whole thing was about him making the decision to go to McLaren, which was the right decision, can we say, in future context, especially after testing.
Well, no, next week.
And maybe it wasn't. Anyway, this will come out before the race, which is fine. But Renault and Cyril. What an absolute sook Cyril is.
He signed a contract to drive for you, not to marry you and give you children. Relax. You're not going through a divorce. He's just moving on. He signed a 2-year deal. He's honouring the 2-year deal. He's just not re-signing. The way he's carrying on is like he's betrayed the whole of France and... I mean, yeah, he has, sorry, it's Renault.
You're right. But interestingly, because... You know, Danny said, well, McLaren was the right choice in his mind because of the steps that they'd made going forward. Now, when this is all announced, and of course it was Ferrari's fault, as often the case with announcing Seb early, so then Carlos was leaving McLaren, which freed up the seat, and we know Zach really wanted Danny Rick. And the first instance where they wanted him, the end of 2018, before Daniel had decided where he was going to go or if he was going to stay with Red Bull, McLaren were nowhere. They were shocking. That was the Stoffel and the Fernando era where it was just bad times with McLaren. But Zach had a plan and it's obviously worked to this point. You know, they finished third in the Constructors last year, which was so good. But Danny's seen that and seen that progression. And I just think the culture of McLaren, and McLaren is a brand, like if you don't know, Bruce McLaren is a New Zealander. So as a brand, it's kind of ties in a little bit better with that, you know, Australia-New Zealand relationship. Not that it really makes a huge difference, but it's just a nice to have.
It just made sense. It seems to fit Daniel Ricciardo better than Renault, it's an odd Formula One team, which is now Alpine anyway.
Right.
Like, they don't even know what they're doing with their team name. Like, McLaren has been McLaren Mercedes, and McLaren again. They are what they are. They don't change their name. They're not in and out of the sport. They are locked in.
What I really enjoyed about this episode as well was the little bit of banter that we saw with Michael Italiano, who's Danny Rick's trainer, one of his mates from school too. So there's a little bit of that glimpse into DR's side that is more, still tries to be down to earth and connect with mates from school and really into his music and especially local artists out west, which is really cool too. But is that passion that Michael's got for Danny to make...
Oh, you see him cheering in the pits.
Yeah.
The other thing you see in this, so you see the fun side of Daniel, which is him training in Perth, him kind of coming to and from the track, but also the professionalism. When he's in the car, there's no back chat. It's like understood. He's the most professional person on the radio of all of the drivers. Lewis is yelling at everyone. Everyone else is like mucking around and stuff. This guy is just like off the track. Let's have fun. Let's do everything, muck around, but still work towards a goal. In the car, he is so professional, and you saw it yield results. Like he wants to win. He's not there to cash a paycheck, which is exactly what he says.
Yeah. even though he's getting paid a ridiculous amount at Renault, that's not what he's doing it for. And I love that about him. And obviously we're massively biased towards him because we're Aussies too. But I think just more than that, because he seems to be a great bloke. He seems to work really well with other teams. And even his comment when it was Cyril arriving to the track and they saw each other for the first time after the announcement of him moving to McLaren. And he's like, oh, geez. Like,
It's like, man, this
wow.
guy, like Cyril's acting like a scorned
Child.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But the other thing we saw was the petulant child throwing the tantrum because the Racing Point stuff.
Yeah, the brake ducts.
The brake duct. So Renault were the first ones to protest and kind of got everyone to jump on board. But just seeing the attitude of Renault and Cyril and the team to pull others down and not improve their own car, because we think that's what you should be doing. You should be focusing on your own car, not trying to just claw everyone down and complain and just muddy the waters. Like, and to be honest, I can see why Daniel's like, well, I'd rather just go to a better team than one that has to kind of like pull everyone else down to make them better. So,
and Lawrence Stroll in with dropping the mic again.
yes.
You know, like comes in like a lawyer, lawyers it up, drops a couple of bombshells, and he's the chairman. That's his title on this. It's like Lawrence Stroll, chairman. Doesn't say of what, the world, evidently. But like that's some like badass top level leadership as far as I'm concerned.
Correct. Not just bitching and moaning like we saw Cyril doing, trying to get his way.
Also, when I can't believe this, when you're the team principal, Otmar, of a team that has a Mercedes power unit in it, it's probably best advised to turn up to the track in a Mercedes car, not a Ferrari.
But he's got a great collection.
He's got a great collection, and then closes the door via the window.
Yeah.
I've got like a 93 Celica SX, which I feel like I still close it via the door with its pillarless doors.
That's what you do.
Because that's what you do. Door. I love my car. It's a great car. Anyway, he probably loves his Ferrari too, but he has a hell of a lot more money than we do, but not as much as Lawrence does. Anyway, that's our review of the Daniel Ricciardo The Affair Is Over episode of Netflix's season 3 of Drive to Survive.